Democrat Xavier Becerra holding on to those top two spots. They both seem to be in a pretty good position right now, but a lot of ballots left to be counted. Do you see any sort of a path for Tom Steyer to make up enough ground to get into the top two?
Alex, becomes a math game. You have about high 50s in terms of percentages of ballots returned statewide, but that means that there's still 3.5 or so million ballots outstanding that could change the race. But what happens as you go further along in these races is that when you don't see the numbers dramatically change, then it requires a multiple of votes for one individual to start really gaining ground. And that's oftentimes when I'm explaining how these things work to people, they think, well, okay, there could be a surge and that'll take care of it. But that belies the fact that, you know, in this case, Hilton's still getting votes, and Becerra is still getting votes. And so as Steyer continues to get votes, he has to get a multiple of those to overtake either Becerra or Hilton. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No.
All right, Brian, I want to circle back now to San Francisco politics, because we saw that two of the candidates backed by Mayor Daniel Lurie are expected to win the seats there on the Board of Supervisors, retain their seats. A measure that he opposed also, you know, encouraged voters to vote no on Measure D, and that looks to be what's happening. I mean, how big is Lurie?
That's a really good point, and it is a big win. The citizens of San Francisco, I think, really wanted a change. And that, of course, occurred when they went with Lurie instead of London Breed, who had been the mayor. But I think what they said more than whether they cared for London Breed or they didn't was that Mayor Lurie presents a new hope for San Francisco. Wanted to hit the ground running with a lot of new initiatives. And one test of, may use that word, is whether candidates he backs are elected, and that's happening, and measures that he is opposing, whether they go down to defeat. And so for him right now, you know, Tuesday was a good night for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, we mentioned Measure D, which, again, would be the tax on billionaires in San Francisco going down to defeat. And we saw a similar storyline play out in many other places across the Bay Area in this primary, where voters rejected a number of new tax measures, funding all sorts of things, from health care to emergency services to even to libraries here. How do we read those results? What do they tell us about the economic concerns that voters have at this moment?
Yeah, I think we have been going through a period for a little while here, that's years, of tax fatigue. And you know, school taxes have always done well, library taxes, things like that have usually done well at the ballot box. But other taxes really suffer. And in fact, school taxes are also suffering. People at this point, given the economy and just when they open up some of their, like their property tax bills, and they see all of the deductions for all of these bond measures and everything else, it really says to them, hey, I've just kind of come to the end of where I want to pay any more money for any more taxes. And so putting taxes, another tax on the ballot, is done at a group's peril at this point. And you're seeing that voters are now saying no more.
Yeah, there just does not seem to be an appetite for any new additional tax measures. Brian, as we wrap up this conversation and continue on with our coverage of the Tuesday primary, I want to talk with you really quickly about Scott Wiener and Connie Chan and how you see that runoff shaping up. And do you think that Nancy Pelosi is actually going to join Connie Chan into the primary? Pelosi did, in fact, back Connie Chan. Do you think she's going to join her on the campaign trail heading into November?
Well, I'm guessing Chan would very much like her to be out there with her. But this is an interesting race because Scott Wiener, former assembly member, current state senator, somebody who's been working the circuit for many years with an eye on Washington, D.C., very clearly. He's set a huge amount of the groundwork. And so he's got he's got a head start here. Now, whether Chan, as we move, Nancy Pelosi may not have the effect on this race that some people think she does, because Scott Wiener has been out there for a really long time and is a very, very popular candidate.
All right. Appreciate the insight and the analysis here. That is our political analyst, Brian Sobel. Thanks for jumping on today. We'll be talking to you soon.